He's a cheating gambler, a ruthless conman, and a man with nothing to lose. When his wife leaves him, and his world explodes in blood and betrayal, King faces a deadly enemy at the card table. One brutal fight changes everything: prison, loss, and a son he's never met. Now, 5 years later, King's back with a dangerous plan to reclaim his life and settle old scores. But in a world ruled by ruthless gamblers, trust is a deadly gamble. This is no ordinary comeback. This is King's war. If you love wild comebacks, epic betrayals, and gamblers who just can't catch a break, hit that subscribe button now. The story centers on King, a middle-aged gambler with a reckless lifestyle. He is a seasoned con man, an unapologetic cheat, and a terrible husband. Known for his aggressive and self-serving attitude, King considers himself a red pill gambler, someone who believes in bending rules to his advantage, especially at the gambling table. He is obsessed with becoming extremely wealthy through card games by any means necessary. One night, King's wife, Fanny, catches him cheating on her with another woman. She walks in on him and confronts him, but King shows no remorse. Hurt and betrayed, Fanny leaves him. Without giving it much thought, King heads out to a casino with his assistant, Chung. On the way, Chung tries to reason with him, reminding him that Fanny is a good woman who doesn't deserve the way he treats her. But King is unmoved. His focus remains solely on the upcoming card game. That night, he's set to play against a notorious opponent known in gambling circles as Hot Temper. His real name is Chimney. He earned the nickname Hot Temper due to his unpredictable and dangerous behavior at the table. Hot Temper is a highly skilled and feared card player, and King is determined to beat him. During the game, King receives a phone call from Fanny. She calmly ends the marriage and informs him that she is pregnant, but makes it clear he will never be part of the child's life. King ends the call without a reaction and immediately returns to the card table, undistracted from the game in front of him. At the casino, King dominates the card game, winning round after round. His consistent win frustrates Hot Temper. Known for his ruthless streak and dislike for losing, Chimney becomes increasingly agitated. It's rare for him to lose, especially to someone like King, and the ease with which King is winning raises suspicion. As the tension builds, Hot Temper begins to lash out. Unable to control his anger, he turns his aggression toward his innocent mistress, using her as an outlet for his growing frustration. His suspicions are confirmed when he discovers a hidden recording device. Realizing he's being watched, it becomes clear to him that King has been cheating. The confrontation escalates quickly. A violent fight breaks out in the casino. In the chaos, King stabs Hot Temper in what appears to be self-defense, killing him. The aftermath is brutal. King suffers multiple injuries, including damage that leaves him colorblind. Chung manages to escape, however. King's brother, Jack, who's also at the table, loses an arm during the fight and later dies from excessive blood loss. Following the incident, King is arrested, tried, and convicted of murder. He is sentenced to 5 years in prison. 5 years later, King is released. His old friend Lang sends one of his men, Dragon, to pick him up. Dragon is a young, small-time gambler who has always looked up to King. After picking him up, Dragon takes King to clean up and get some relaxation. The two begin to bond, and King agrees to a partnership. He decides to team up with Dragon and put his prison-learned skills in horse race betting to use. Later, Dragon brings King to a karaoke bar where his sister, Ching, works. When Ching has a run-in with a troublesome gangster customer named Rocky, King steps in to handle the situation. Rather than respond with violence, he challenges Rocky to a snooker game. The terms are simple. The winner gets the money and the girl. King wins. As a gesture of gratitude, Ching slyly collects the prize money and offers King a place to stay until he gets back on his feet. Surprisingly, the man who once lived without empathy now carries himself with quiet calm. Since the deadly fight with Hot Temper, King has changed. He's no longer the cold and heartless gambler he used to be. Deep down, he longs to reconnect with his wife. He regrets how he treated her and often thinks about the child he's never met. Despite trying to reach out, he has heard nothing about her. He chooses to share the space Ching offered him with Dragon, and together they begin organizing a disciplined betting system focused on horse racing. Dragon, eager and impulsive, wants to gamble on every opportunity, but King teaches him restraint. Winning consistently, he says, is about patience and strategy, not greed. While eating out, Dragon spots a group of familiar faces gathered around a card table. They invite him to join the game. King tries to hold him back, advising caution, but Dragon insists. Hoping to win back the money they just spent on food, he takes a chance and plays. Unfortunately, he loses. King then points out that the man winning the most has been cheating. Familiar with the method being used, King takes over the game and outplays the cheater, winning all the money on the table with ease. Later that evening, while celebrating their win at the karaoke bar, a well-known figure arrives, Macau Man, accompanied by his escort. Macau Man is a powerful gambling tycoon, famous across Macau and Hong Kong for his mastery in card games. King has always looked up to him and once dreamed of facing him in a match, but never had the opportunity. He is both surprised and pleased to finally cross paths with him. Dragon explains that Macau Man isn't just a gambler. He controls most of the horse racing and soccer betting networks, as well as the underground index market throughout Hong Kong. Sometime later, Ching and Dragon accompany King to visit his late brother's columbarium. During the visit, King spots a woman walking with a child. Suspecting it may be his wife and child, he runs after them, but they vanish before he can catch up. Back home, while placing horse racing bets, Ching arrives with her fiancé, Raymond. She introduces King to Raymond. Dragon, however, remains indifferent and cold toward him. He resents Raymond, believing his sister sacrifices too much for him. She regularly sends Raymond money to support his education at Princeton University, yet barely gives anything to Dragon. Sensing something suspicious, King tells Dragon that there's something off about Ching's fiancé, and they agree to investigate. Their search reveals that Raymond is a fraud. He has never attended any university in the US. Instead, he runs scams, pretending to be a student while swindling women out of their money. With help from Dragon and Rocky, King sets up a plan. They attack Raymond at a restaurant and trick him into thinking he has accidentally killed King, forcing him to flee to Cambodia. After exposing Raymond's deceit and helping Ching, King earns her trust and affection. One day, Rocky, who's now close pals with King, brings him onto Macau Man's gambling cruise ship, asking for his help to recover money he previously lost. On board, they are introduced to Macau Man's right-hand man, a sharp figure known as Handsome. Handsome turns out to be the younger brother of Hot Temper. When questioned, King denies ever knowing anyone by that name. At the gambling table, King plays strategically. Dragon and Rocky cheer as he begins to win consistently. Once they feel satisfied with their earnings, they decide it's time to leave. King steps away to use the restroom, but unexpectedly runs into his former assistant, Chung. The moment Chung sees King, he bolts. King chases him down and catches up with him. After King was sentenced to prison, Chung only visited him twice. Afterward, he didn't hear from him again and they lost contact. During their brief exchange, Chung explains that after King was imprisoned, Fanny committed suicide by jumping from a building. This leaves him utterly devastated. But King, who has learned not to trust easily, investigates further. He tracks down Chung's residence and discovers the truth. Fanny is alive, and now in a relationship with Chung. Though King had once asked Chung to take care of her while in prison, he never expected this. The betrayal hits hard, but King keeps his emotions in check. At Chung's place, King finally meets his son, Little King, for the first time. The boy wears a leg support brace, hinting at a past injury, but King doesn't press Fanny for details. Instead, he gently hugs his son, holding him close. Before leaving, he asks for permission to spend time with him occasionally. While spending time at the park with Little King, Dragon, and Ching, King is approached by Handsome. He claims he means no harm and admits that his late brother, Hot Temper, was aggressive and difficult. According to him, Hot Temper brought his fate upon himself. But Handsome isn't there to talk about the past. He wants something from King. He asks him to help bring down his current boss, Macau Man. Handsome wants King to challenge Macau Man to a high-stakes card game. It's part of a larger plan to eliminate Man and take over his empire. King refuses the request. But when Handsome doesn't get his way, he turns violent. His men attack Dragon and Ching, and in the chaos, Little King is pushed down a flight of stairs. The boy is rushed to the hospital as he's severely hurt. Handsome escalates the situation further by kidnapping Fanny and Chung. With them held hostage, he blackmails King into cooperating. The plan is centered around Macau Mon's massive bet on the upcoming FIFA World Cup. Mon has staked a large fortune on the French national team, confident that they will win. Handsome wants King to stage a scenario that makes it look like Brazil is winning instead. The goal is psychological. If Macau Mon believes his fortune is slipping away during the card game, his heart condition will be triggered. At that critical moment, Handsome will offer him poisoned water disguised as help when he reaches for his medication. King is devastated by how far things have gone. He feels helpless and defeated. But later that night, Ching tries to comfort him. She reminds him that he's not alone, that she and Dragon are with him. They both value him, regardless of what he's lost. During this quiet moment of support, Ching finally expresses how she feels about him. Their bond deepens, and they end up spending the night together. The next morning, Dragon urges King to back out. He warns that Handsome might not keep his word, even if King does everything he's asked to do. But King insists he has no choice. To carry out the plan, they bring in Squirrel, an adult film director, to help them create fake footage of the World Cup match showing Brazil in the lead. Once the footage is ready, King begins preparing for the mission. Before leaving that evening, King gives Ching a clear instruction. She is to meet them at the train station the next morning at 9 a.m. sharp. If they aren't there by 9:30 a.m., she must leave without them. That night, King and Dragon arrive at Macau Mon's cruise ship and join the gambling table with Handsome, Macau Mon, and Gary. It's the showdown King had always dreamed of, but not under the circumstances he imagined. After displaying his cash for the game, King suggests they raise the stakes by adding a live bet on the World Cup match showing on TV. He bets that Brazil will win by a 2-goal margin with a payout of $45 million. At the start of the high-stakes card game, King wins the first round. Macau Mon, impressed by his skill, admits he hasn't played with anyone that good in a long time. King responds with a quiet smile. As the game progresses, Dragon antagonizes Gary. The provocation escalates, and Dragon is thrown out by the guards. They tie Dragon up and hand him over to one of Handsome's men. This is all part of the arrangement. If King holds up his end of the deal, Chung and Fanny will be released and handed over to Dragon, who will escort them to safety. However, the plan begins to unravel. Handsome's enforcer uses the opportunity to take revenge on Dragon for a past gambling loss. He attacks Dragon, knocking him to the ground. He vents his anger and pain by turning on Fanny and Chung. In a swift move, Dragon frees himself using a razor blade he had hidden in his mouth. He catches Handsome's enforcer off guard, knocks him unconscious, and escapes with Fanny and Chung. He takes them to a secure location. Meanwhile, the card game continues aboard the ship. Squirrel, stationed behind the scenes, switches the live feed to the pre-recorded footage of a fake soccer match. The footage is designed to blend seamlessly with the real broadcast and even includes commercials to maintain the illusion. In the doctored video, Brazil is shown to be winning. As the match progresses, Macau Mon begins to experience tightness in his chest and reaches for his heart medication. Handsome instructs a guard to bring him water, but Mon hesitates and refuses to drink it. King and Handsome exchange glances as suspicion grows. By the end of the staged match, Brazil appears to win 3-2 against France. In reality, France had beaten Brazil 3-0. Macau Mon also loses the card game, doubling the impact. The stress overwhelms him, and he collapses with a heart attack. Believing that Mon is dead, Handsome leans over him with a smile and begins to gloat. He assumes full control of the ship and casino and points a gun at King, reminding him about killing his brother, Hot Temper, wanting to avenge his death. But before he can pull the trigger, Macau Mon suddenly gets up behind him and holds him down with a gun to his head. It turns out that King had warned Macau Mon earlier during the game by slipping him a 2 of spades card, with a note that the water is poisoned. Thanks to the warning, Macau Mon never drank it. He shoots and kills Handsome without hesitation. In the aftermath, King goes to the train station the next morning to meet Ching, just as they agreed. Having waited for a while, Ching spots him from a distance and smiles, relieved to see him alive. But just as King begins to cross the platform toward her, he is unexpectedly hit by Dragon, who comes rushing over in so as not to be left behind. King is injured, but he survives much to Ching and Dragon's relief, from cheating cards to broken hearts, bloody fights, and a shot at redemption. If you're into stories where luck runs out but the drama doesn't, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss the next twist.